All right, so I'm going to go ahead and present the stage to Kim for our workshop.
Thank you very much, Natalie. Appreciate it. And thank you everyone on the staff for having me as well from Melrose Trading Post. Thank you everyone for vendors for being here and for hearing me and taking part in this. I hope I'm able to provide you with value and you're able to come away from this with some things to be able to help your business along. I met Natalie because I reach out to different small business organizations and markets to reach out to see if there are ways that I can help. And I'll tell you about my business, but a lot of my time is spent working with self-funded creative small businesses with limited resources to help them overcome their resource in bandwidth challenges. Because as you all know, when you're wearing all the hats and trying to figure things out in advance of business, it's very difficult. So that's what my business is about. And I love it when organizations respond when I reach out, because I'm not looking to sell anything. I'm just looking to come in and help and meet people and develop relationships. Because when I get to do things like this, I learn a lot from people between the administrators who support small businesses like yourselves, as well as the small business owners, to understand what their needs are and their challenges. Because what works in places in corporate America and bigger businesses, and even with other small businesses, don't make sense for other small businesses, I've learned since I began this journey about 2 years ago. So I'm going to do a presentation that should take about 30 minutes. And at the end, we'll have a Ask Me Anything, which if you have any questions relating to marketing, I can answer them. But the goal of this is really to break it down and make it really simple and approachable, and to help you on your journey to be able to help advance and help you grow your business as you need. And I'm a resource that if you need to reach out to me later, I'll also put my contact in there. So I will share my screen and we will get going. Cool. Cool. So can everyone see my presentation? Great. So my company is called 3 Points, and the tagline and the name of this workshop is called Marketing Made Easy for Small Business. And it's really the manifesto of what I do. And I really work on that. And Natalie can tell you, because she receives a weekly email that I send out in terms of, it's really based around the challenges and needs of bootstrapped small business founders, creative businesses specifically, to help them solve their resource and bandwidth challenges. So this will be our agenda that I'm going to go through some quick objectives to help you understand what you should be getting out of this and what I hope to do. I'll give you a quick background about myself and my business. Then I'm going to go into marketing and explain it generally. And then I want to demystify marketing, because explain it is one thing, but probably the main thing is helping to knock down the myths and the misunderstandings to marketing, because it really is not some rocket science. It's not anything that anyone tells you. It's what you're already doing. And it's just about being mindful and intentful of those things, that once you can take that, you can then leverage it and lean into it and benefit from it even further. So I'm going to help you understand what you're already doing and how to make it work. And if you're looking to advance and grow further, you can even do more with it. So after that, we'll go into the components of marketing, and then we'll talk about, I'll give you some tips on how I think you can make marketing work for you. And then we'll have a quick Ask Me Anything. And Natalie, please keep me honest on time, and we can cut when we need to. So objectives, I want to make marketing easy to understand and approach for you. I want to demystify it, as I said before, and I want to empower you with advice to make marketing work for you and your goals. So who am I? My name is Kim Robinson. I'm a marketing expert and coach, and I'm the founder of 3 Points, a marketing resource that helps self-funded creative small businesses with limited means get customers and grow. That's my info right there. Previously, I worked at Red Bull for 5 years, where I oversaw marketing in New York, specifically in culture marketing and a bunch of other areas. I worked at a bunch of media companies, Complex, The Fader, and more. And my strengths are ideation. I took a test to figure this out, and it's true. Ideation, restorative, responsible, woo, and positivity. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. I lived in California for about 7 years. I went to college at Sacramento State, California. Spent a lot of time in LA. It's one of my favorite places in the world. I love Roscoe's, and I love a lot of other things like lemonade as well. And I currently live in Brooklyn, New York. And my business, as I said before, is 3 Points, and it's a marketing resource for self-funded creative small businesses with limited resources. We empower bootstrap creative entrepreneurs with guidance, systems, and community so they can grow. I'm not a consultant. I provide consultant help to different people, but really what I'm about, it's kind of the same ethos that NTP is about community and bringing people together to support each other and bringing resources and different things to help people. So it's kind of said here that if you want to sum it up, I'm a one-stop shop of easily accessible online resources, guidance, connections, and for bootstrap creative small businesses looking to overcome their resource network and bandwidth challenges. Because if you're really good at making candles or curating vintage finds or whatever, you're also trying to do operations, marketing, and all those things. And I'm here to help close that gap. And that's what I do with the businesses that I support and work with. So 3points.co, 3pts.co is my website. If you go to that, and you can sign up for this weekly newsletter that I send out, as simple as that. So marketing explained. Simple. Marketing is the activity and processes for which communicating offerings that are of value for customers and society at large. Now, to break this down and make it very simple, it means literally just communicating something to people to let them know you have something of value. It's what you do if you have a stand in a marketplace, that your stand is visible for people. Maybe you have signs, maybe you verbally speak out to people, like if, sandwich sign guys on the corner dancing with things, getting attention and using some act of verbal or nonverbal communication to communicate value to other people to get their attention for something that they possibly want. Marketing is also helping people solve problems that they're looking to find. It's not about conning people. It's not about tricking people. It's about providing value based on the talent you have to help them solve something, be it pain, a problem, find entertainment, etc. So, whoops. So marketing is important because no matter what you want to accomplish personally or professionally, effectively communicating with and reaching people is your answer. And we use marketing to help others solve their problems and help us achieve our goals, as I said before. So to demystify marketing, because this is the main thing, I want to knock out things to help you understand what it is and what it's not. So what I said there is that it's simply communicating. So marketing could be, you say, I have a stand, I'm telling people about something, I send out a flyer, but then there's all kinds of layers that you can add on top of it, just like arithmetic can turn to calculus. So marketing does not require a budget. One of the first things I hear from people is, I don't have budget. You don't need money. If you have it, it helps with amplifying, but that's not a thing. It can be scaled and amplified with a budget, as I said before. It's not just advertising. Don't look at the things on TV and think that that's what you have to do. That's probably not a good use of your money, and it doesn't make sense in 2021 for a lot of businesses unless they have a ton of money. It's not only social media. You actually don't have to do social media. You can do it. I love social media, but that's not what it is. It's done by everyone. I'll explain that later. Everyone markets in some capacity on a personal level practice or a professional level. It's a practice. It's something that you learn and you can get better at. It takes time and requires patience. Just because I tell someone about an opportunity doesn't mean that they're going to come through and immediately buy something from me, but people are on their journey and you have to give them their time. It's not a waste of money if done correctly. It requires your intent and attention. And it doesn't need to be planned or executed by someone who's a marketing professional. There's a guru who tells you you need to pay them a bunch of money for something. You don't have to do that. And even if you do pay them, you should be knowledgeable of what they're doing and the value they're providing so you can get the most out of it. So I'm here to diminish anything. I'm not going to try and sell you that, and no one else should, because you need to make the most of your money. And it's going to solve your challenges and help your business grow. Anything you want to do with your business, the answer is customers. And the way you're going to do that is through marketing. So don't think of it as a bad thing. Think of it as a positive thing. And it's what you're already doing, because if you're in business and you're selling things, you're already marketing in some capacity. Even if you say, I have no marketing budget, I don't market, you do. And I can explain it to you how you do it. So why should you care about marketing? Because the market is continually changing. Because people forget quickly. We have a 24/7 environment where things go. Your competitors are everywhere now. It's online. People have Etsy channels. People have Shopify channels. There's other markets. What's going to make your stand, your product, your thing stand out amongst everyone else who does it the same way? That's where marketing helps you with that. It's going to strengthen your identity. It helps you. It's essential for your survival and growth. It's going to enable you to keep the customers that you fought so hard to get. Marketing helps you have really strong morale for your product. And that's where brand comes in, is such an important thing, because it just gives you this intangible. Think of the products that you love and buy for any reason you need them, for a service, for anything specific. You buy it because you trust in it, and there's an intangible thing that you don't have to think twice about it. Your product can be that for customers. You just have to position yourself as such and be consistent. Your marketing program gives you an advantage over competitors who have ceased to market. Most people don't think about it and they just leave it to luck. If you're being proactive in any capacity, even by 5%, you're going to be better off than most other businesses you're competing with. And then marketing is going to allow you to continue your business to operate. You're going to be able to sustain and grow. And then you stand to lose out on money, time, and effort. It's nothing worse than if you have this amazing skill, talent, or ability that it's put to waste, or you lose time or money because you weren't able to sustain and grow your business beyond where you wanted to grow. You want customers, you want to grow, you want to hire help, marketing is your answer. So examples of marketing. Advice or recommendations of friends and family. Anytime you ask someone, hey, do you know a guy for a mechanic, a doctor? That is marketing. That is someone using word of mouth and an experience. Most humans rely on what we call social proof, where if this worked for this person, it's going to work for me. That's why Jeff Bezos is a bazillionaire, because the customer function on Amazon and people saying, I like this because of this reason, I don't like this, really helps us make decisions when we're trying to figure things out for ourselves. So word of mouth and being able to leverage that is huge. And we do it for people and people do it for us. A conversation with a stranger, asking people what's a good restaurant that I can eat at in a town. That is marketing. Someone is putting you onto something and helping you. Promotions, any kind of promotion, inviting or bringing someone to a community event. Me coming to this event, me reaching out to Natalie, is marketing, and then being able to be here and saying, here's who I am, here's what I'm about. That's marketing. And just being at different things, just showing up is establishing that. Educating people, markets like what you participate in. A market is all you need sometimes. And some of you are like, I don't need anything else, make enough money, I'm happy with it. I totally respect that, and that's fine. But some people don't understand that that is marketing. It's a market. You're getting in front of a community, a marketplace. Sharing with others online, IRL, communicating who you are verbally or through any other means. Asking someone to do something for a cause is marketing. Providing someone with something of value. Think of like mentorship, or someone who does something for people, not for bad means, because they want to be seen as a good person or someone who contributes. That is marketing and a part of them for themselves internally. And then you can bring that to businesses. The origination of sponsorships and how brands sponsor things is that same idea of supporting things to associate yourself with good deeds, to get people to think positively about your brand. You could do this as a smaller business as well, depending on the causes and the things you support, but it's the plans you build around it that can help deliver value to your business. A flyer is a simple way to market your business. Videos, written content, audio. So there's many things. So don't let the world tell you that it's about influencers or advertising. Those things are all marketing, but it can be whatever you want based on your resources. And if you approach it just casually based on what works for you, you can then build on that and make it work for you, and not have it be crazy or anything that's beyond that. And you all are probably doing plenty of things already to market your business and get them on. It's an art and a science, it's analytics, but don't take that word too seriously. It's just looking at numbers. So if you're on social media, you're saying, how many followers are engaging with my content? It's segmentation, saying, I know some of my customers, the ones who spend a lot of money, I know some of them who don't. Planning, just saying, here's a piece of paper with 5 things written down of how I'm going to get the word out about my business. Optimization means improving. So it could be merchandising a booth that you have, that you say, I know if I put this product in the front of my table and I say something to someone, chances are likely that this product is going to sell. So these things are big words, but they're the things you're already doing for your business. And the same methodology can be applied for other aspects of marketing. Copy, what is the writing that you're putting up for a flyer or sign at a booth that you have? Visual creative content for social media. And then customer empathy. A lot of you, your businesses are so amazing because you're your own customer typically, because you created something or do something because it is you. And when people show up to somewhere and buy something from you, they're typically inspired by who you are and learn something from you. And that customer empathy and understanding them sells things like hotcakes. People want to be understood. And when they feel understood and seen, they buy and they will buy from you. So this is what everyone loves all the time. Tactics, 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 tactics. They're like, oh, social media, or we could do email marketing, or we can do, there's a billion ways to market a business, and people love talking about all the different ways. Don't get caught up in all this stuff. It's all important depending on, these are all tools to help you on your journey, depending on what your business goals are. And what I'll say is marketing should focus on and support your sales. It is a business function that helps you acquire and retain customers. Don't think about ad creatives and all these huge commercials. Those are brand plays for big businesses that can just flush money down the toilet and just have things on TV. For you, your marketing needs to come back to make sure that it's delivering you return on your investment. Investment meaning your time, your money, your energy, anything you spend. So anything that you look to do, if you're doing a social media thing and you're being conscious of it, how is it truly delivering dollars? It's not about likes. It's about how is those likes converting into money? So that's just something that you have to think about, and being mindful of that is going to help you with developing and making sure your marketing works for you. So the components of marketing, this is a simple way to break it down is you have an objective, a thing that's aimed or sought, a goal. What are you looking to achieve for your business? And it must be measurable. And then you say you have a strategy, which is what is my strategy approach that I'm going to have that's going to help me achieve that objective? Then a channel, what is the means that I'm going to communicate with to people? And like I said, it's talking to people, it's having someone a sandwich board on a corner, it's doing email marketing, it's buying advertising in newsletters or anything along those lines. Assets, what are the tools that you're going to use? Yourself, you could be an asset where you talk to people. I'm an asset for my business talking to you. Or think about flyers or materials, digital materials, anything along those lines. And tactics are the specific actions that you're going to take in order to achieve. So it all connects. I set my objective, I figure out a strategy, I identify a channel that I'm going to communicate with people. Then I need things to use to communicate with them, an asset. And then I set up steps to keep myself honest, to be consistent and stick to it. And I do it continuously. And that's the simple components of marketing. So here's an example. If I was a vintage clothing seller at a market and I wanted to increase my sales by 10% over the summer, that's my objective. I set a number. You have to set a number, vitally important. You can't just say, I want to grow. You need to say what you want to grow, and it needs to be achievable. So you do it small so you can bite off what you can chew. So my strategy would be, you know what, I want to actively promote the business to my target customers. I know who they are and I want to promote it more. I want to actively get out there. What are my channels going to be? Well, I know there's some universities close by, some clubs, some Facebook groups. I have some friends I partner with, and some like own channels, meaning my personal like Instagram channels, social media, Pinterest, etc. So I'm going to use those to promote my business, and I'm going to be coordinated in it. What are my assets? My assets are my photos, my brand logo. I could do a buy one, get one free. I could use my customers to say why they like my business, like referrals and why they like it, et cetera. And then my tactics are my steps. I'm going to reach out to the channels. I'm going to make a deal for them to promote my business. I'm going to provide channels with value in return, be it money or trade. And then I'm going to track how the results came out there. How to make marketing work for your business. So these are just some simple steps. This is a really condensed version of what I do in seminars and bigger things with groups and stuff. I wanted to make it as easy and digestible as possible here. So first things first, you don't have to do it all. Don't let the world or anything overwhelm you to think marketing or anything means you have to do 7,000 different things. What you need to do is what you're strong at and what you're best at. If you've identified that the market selling there and the audience and the customers that it brings in is good enough for you, more power to you. I respect that, and that's good. But if you want more, you can do more. But you don't have to say, well, that means I got to learn SEO or I have to learn influencer marketing. That's only going to send you in a situation where you're going to be frustrated and you won't do anything. So keep it simple. You don't have to do it all. Next, think about and communicate what makes your business, product, or service unique. Again, as I said earlier, We're now in an era where your competitors are in Russia and Spain and everywhere selling online, selling IRL, everywhere. What makes your specific product unique? What makes you unique? And make sure you're communicating that, because in the end, people buy more than a product. I don't buy a book. I buy the knowledge that it's giving to me. I buy the ability that it gives to me to have conversations with people. I don't buy um, uh, a I mean, you don't buy a quarter-inch drill bit. You buy the frame that goes up on the wall because you're going to have your family photos on there. So you think about the larger, deeper benefits that your product gives to people, and how can your product uniquely appeal to that? Because everyone can sell the same thing, but you need to think about and specifically be mindful and communicate that. Because if you just say, hey, I got this thing, then what's going to make someone buy your thing over someone else's? So you need to be very conscious and mindful of that. That's marketing right there. And then be informed and empathetic of your consumer. And that's just being mindful of your consumer, that if you know who they are and you speak to them and you have knowledge on them, then you can use that to your own benefit to get more customers, get those same customers to talk about you, and sell more to those customers who you're already selling to. So when I say be informed, it means just do a little bit of homework. You could think of your top 3 best customers who are not your friends or family, and ask them questions. You can sit with them for 20 minutes and say, what do you like about my product? What makes my product stand out to you? All a bunch of questions that can help you say, well, if this person likes it for that, then maybe I can message for this on a sign in front of my stand or on my social media. They can give you all the answers that you need. So it's really important to be mindful of your customers and informed and very empathetic. And it's not meaning crying with people, it's understanding what your product is doing for them and what they look for, and then optimizing or improving your business to support that. Set an intention. One of my favorite things about yoga and working out is when they say set an intention. And what they mean by that a lot of times is when you're in the midst of some of the most difficult times of a workout, halfway through, the intention that I came into it thinking about, which is I want to be a healthy person, I want to be better for myself and my family, hits me, and it helps me stick through it. And it's the same thing for running a business. You know that we all deal with ups and downs where it's so difficult, where you're wearing all the hats, you have everything flying at you, and you're just trying to make things happen. Remembering the tension that you set relating to your business and what you want is going to keep you consistent and going with your marketing. So set that intention and then set your objectives, which I said before. So that objective example I said was 10% more sales increase during the summer. That's an objective. And then I'm going to set an intention that says, I want to grow my business and it's really important to me and I'm going to be consistent with it. It's a bit fuzzy, I mean, touchy-feely, but this stuff is needed to help motivate and get you through what we all deal with, which is really, really, tough times. I'm a solopreneur, so I deal with it every day myself. Identify what's working and do it. What's not working, cut it. Don't don't fall into things that are not working for you. Continue. If you are currently doing some kind of marketing thing that is not delivering value, please cut it out so you can get back your resources, time, and energy. And if something simple is working for you, if you have a really good referral program with customers that's really working really well, why don't you lean into that? Don't try and win Instagram. You're competing with Drake and Kim Kardashian and every brand in the world. If it's not working for you, do you really want to try and like win that game and be on Reels, do Instagram Live, do grid postings 5 times a week? If it's not something that's working and you're not naturally good at, don't feel like you have to do it. Lean into what your strengths and things are, and don't be afraid to challenge yourself. So cut the fat and lean into what's working for you relating to your marketing. And then be consistent. If you start doing something one week and then you stop and it falls off, people aren't going to remember you. When I started my business about officially about 6 months ago, I knew I was in for an uphill battle because I had to be consistent. So talking to people like Natalie and other administrators across the country and being around and saying, hey, here's who I am, here's what I do, They hear from people all the time who say they want to do something, but not everyone follows up. So if I follow up and I say, hey, I want to do something, then I'll reach out to her in a few weeks again, or we'll touch base again. So it's just about being consistent in your marketing. It could be in your relationships with customers and people you're trying to build relationships with, or consistent in your actions. That email goes out every Tuesday, or that social post goes up every Thursday. If you are not consistent, all the work you've done is gonna not work for your business. And then lastly, sign up for my newsletter, which is really, really amazing. This is my shameless plug. It's free. It comes out every week. You'll get a lot of benefit. My archive has a ton of resources, grants, and other things that you'll love. And it's at 3points.co. If you go 3pts.co, it'll take you to a landing page where you could sign up, and it's free, and it's a really, really good newsletter. So we're now at a point where you can ask me anything you want about marketing, anything about it relating to your business, and we can go from there. Natalie, how are we doing on time?
So far, so good. We've still got plenty of time. I was aiming for around 7:15, 7:30 to cut it. So I think
Okay,
you're doing great.
perfect. Yeah, I didn't want to go long, which is something I learned a long time ago. I can go long on some of these. But what's great is a lot of times for when I'll go in and do these presentations, and I'm talking to everyone here, um, I'll come in. There's been times for different organizations and groups where I'll do a full plan about email marketing or SEO or something about getting a customer base and building it. And a lot of times people are just like, I just want to talk about my challenge and what I'm going through, and I just want to vent. And a lot of times that's really important to people. So I like to just carve out time that this is a safe space and there's no wrong question or answer. And one thing that my business is based around is just giving people space that they feel like they can feel comfortable asking questions about things that they may not be able to like wrap their heads around, or challenges that they're having. And I'll give you an honest answer or refer you to something that can help you. I may not have the answer, but I can definitely get you to a resource online or person free of charge that may be able to help you as well. So if not, it's fine. But any questions?
Um, can I have one? Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me? My name is
Yes.
Delaria.
Hi,
And talking
Delaria.
about, hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
What is
Pleasure to meet you.
cool? What is the best way to market myself on Melrose Trading Post? I'm always passing out my business cards, like flyers, but I guess most of the people being just friendly and nice to you, they're taking out like, but nothing really happens. So, what is the best way to actually get their attention?
Yeah. So first, what's your business?
I'm selling candles, like a sculpture candles.
Nice, nice, nice. And you said what you do is you do hand-to-hand assets, like the cards, you hand them out to people with it has like an image and the name of your business on it.
I have custom molds, so they like Greek goddesses, like all the body type of candles, like very beautiful and nice.
Yeah. So the trickiest thing, and it depends on who you're handing it out to and when. So I worked as a street teamer when I was younger, and street teams, I don't know if they still exist, but basically what they were for music industry people, it was like the kids who handed out flyers and promotional items for an album. So if an album was coming out, they gave me a big stack of posters and flyers, and I went out into the streets and handed it out to people because it was just trying to get people's to be aware of this product and to buy it. And you get really strategic at a certain point and you learn, but it's still really challenging to what we call get a conversion out of it, which is that someone sees it and then they take the action you want. So the action you want is you hand someone the card, they see it, and then they respond and they either go to your website and they buy something from you, or they follow you on social media, or they buy your product. And that's what you're looking for. Now, one of the biggest challenges with handing people things anywhere, be it when I'm walking down the street and you got kids who are trying to sign people up for Greenpeace or anything that I believe in, is that I'm not in that place mentally that I'm ready to receive that message. So the advice I'd give to you is you need to capture people when they're most responsive to where and when they're most responsible to receiving your message. So the best messages the best way to do it is the right message delivered at the right place at the right time. So where are the places in your business where people who are into candles, your specific candles exist? Where do they hang out? Where are they at? And once you kind of find those places, then I would hand out my cards there to those people and be very selective. I wouldn't just hand out cards to anyone because not everyone's going to understand and see the value and the beauty of the work you do. So think of the environments and the ecosystem of the customers that buy from you. What are the places that they hang out publicly? Is it cafes? Is it coffee shops? Is it art galleries? How can you place your cards at those places so you know that those places with those people are going to probably respond better than Jack walking down the street on Fairfax, who you may not know cares about your business or not. So it's really about like finding people who are your potential customers at the right place in the right time and delivering that message to them. And then you're increasing and bettering your chances of getting them to react. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate your help. Thank
Cool.
you.
I'd love to also just interject, particularly for your business, you do a great job of putting that message out there, Delaria. Like you have a really cool banner. Everything is so visual. Like I do think you have a great presentation and really are doing a lot already to put it, like to show people like, hey, I'm a candle maker. It's literally a photo on a banner and it looks so cool and it's very eye catching. So, I think like to what Kim said, like I think you're on that track already. Like you already know how to present yourself in a way that will draw in those people at the market.
And all you have to do now, because if you have these beautiful assets that communicate it, what you do, and people understand the value, you need to do it in front of people who are going to understand and see it, that you don't have to convince to understand the beauty of it. So if I went and did this presentation in front of a bunch of tech bros in Silicon Valley, they'd be like, get out of here. Because these guys are moving at a pace and like they're working with agencies and people that they'd be like, you make no sense to me. But my messaging makes sense for you because I built this for people like you. So I'm here to support people like you. So how can you get your product and the assets in front of the right customer? So thinking about optimizing for the right place and the right customer, and don't be discriminate about who you share this stuff with, because if you share with the right people and enough of them, they're going to show up and support your business. Cool.
Got it.
I
Thank you.
have a question. Oh, thank you. I have a question. So how effective is actually like handing out flyers and cards these days? I feel like everything is digital, and a lot of times people just take a picture of my card. I've been reluctant to make any flyers for fear of seeing them on the marketplace floor.
Totally.
About at the end of the day.
Totally.
I remember one really, day where I had hardly any sales. This is in the beginning when I started the market. I went in the bathroom and I saw my card like crumpled up on the floor, and I was like, ah,
I know.
no. So anyway, the question is, how effective is paper marketing still?
Same thing I said for Delaria. It's about, if I was running a stand and I had a product, I would not produce a ton of cards and give them out, because only to customers who bought, where the card goes into their bag, so they have this asset to go with them. But I would not hand it out to people who are walking down the street. If someone comes over and grabs one, yes, but I would make it almost like a limited thing that like, you only get this if you care about it and want it. Because to what I said earlier, I was just handing out like album promo things to every single person. And then at the end of the day, the people who were like the managers of these office buildings where I was working would be like, you have to clean up all this stuff, because everyone would throw it down. So if I gave you an album promo card, you'd be like, I don't care about this. It's not who I am. And it's not about people being mean. It's just about, is the communication and the material relevant to them? So to what I was saying to her, optimize for your materials being relevant to the right people at the right place, and you'll be good. Now, what's your product? Because certain things work better for materials, physical materials as well.
Yeah, I think I just got the answer. I make handmade lingerie and mix it with some other lingerie and vintage, but for the handmade, I think I should make like a postcard for the people that are interested in custom, and then I'll make like a really classy postcard so that instead of saying, oh, DM me, then I can just hand them that. Okay, that's a good idea.
And that visual alone of like custom handmade custom lingerie really stands out. Of course, it's lingerie, and if you give it to the right people, they're going to be like, wow, I like this, I want this. There's been materials for businesses I've gotten that I've hung up and put up on refrigerators and other things. So it's really about like the right people at the right time. Now, physical materials aren't going to like kill it crazy, but if you do it, and I just make sure you're doing it with the right people, because if not, you're going to see things on the ground like you said you saw.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Delightful silence.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yep.
Hi, I'm Delightful Silence. I have a vegan skincare company. I vetted with Melrose a few times, and one of the issues I was having, because my booth is normally, I like it clean. I didn't want too much noise because it is clean skincare. So I have like my table set up, and I have my products, which are small, and I have a banner. And one thing I realized, just observing the crowd, being a people watcher, while I was sitting down, people couldn't even see my booth. So most of the time I was, standing up, talking to people, trying to get people's attention. But for me, because my products are small items, like I have a rose water and some body butters, I was having trouble getting people's attention. So I guess that's like one thing. How can I attract people to my booth?
So, and I'm guessing the MTP team definitely has recommendations and best practices, and this is something that I'm going to be doing something for this holiday season for a bunch of the businesses I work with, because merchandising and how you present your business, because I'm guessing certain people who probably have booths at Melrose that are in strategic places are holding them because they're really, really good locations where people go. It's almost like housing or retail, but that does not mean that if you in another place, that doesn't mean you're gonna have less. It's about how you merchandise and how you present and set up your space to attract people. And that's where like the visual aesthetic of your brand, and what are the hooks and the ways that you're pulling people in, where you maybe ask a question or you present your products in a certain way that to draw them in. So there's many questions you have to ask when you're doing this, like this question of drawing people in. One, what's around you? Two, next, with your booth, what are the things that are there that could not be like truly communicating or catching people's attention, and how can you improve that? So if your communication asset is a banner or something like that, and you're just saying what your product is, maybe you say something that's a hook or something that's like, that's really unique, that catches people attention. Like, wow, I want to answer that question that she just posed in that banner. And they need to come up to you and say, oh, what do you mean about this? So if you said, do this thing and your skin will feel 20 times better, and someone will be like, can you tell me how I can do that? So it's really about like, can you use your education and your strengths, because you know your product and things that most people will be like, wow, I didn't know that. So you can optimize for your booth to make it stand out in unique ways to capture people's attention. And then you also need to think about your environment around you. And I think, like I said, the MTP team for sure probably has tons of merchandising recommendations based on what they've seen other people do. Natalie, you want to chime in?
Definitely. Any kind of visual helps. And I think the more creative, the more like that it aligns with your personality and your booth, the more it really attracts people. Like one example that I like to give is in the red section, there's a few pink booths that are, there are disco balls, there are flowers draped on them, there are flamingos all around the booth. Like this booth is screaming pink disco party, garden party. And it's all about like these herbal drinks with flowers in them, right? And different coffees and different teas. So it's like the whole booth is themed for like an explosion of the owner's personality, right? And so people are so drawn to it. There's always a line, whether it's just because it's like so fun and pretty and they're like, what is this? Or because they know it and they love it and they're like, oh, I can't wait to see what's on the menu this week. There's always something exciting about that booth, and it's so eye-catching that people just like find themselves inside going like, what's happening in here?
I know exactly what
Fun.
you're talking about. I had the same reaction. I was like, this is so cool. Okay.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and just like this slide I have up says, is think about and communicate what makes your business, product, or service unique. Just like how you're both taught what's going to be remarkable that someone's going to be like, oh, I see that. So there's a farmer's market in Union Square, New York, and there's like 7 honey stands, 7 of them, and all of them are practically empty, but there is one that always has a long line attached to it, and they all are cool. They all have really good branding. No one's like has a bad booth. And I went up to the booth that has a long line, and I wanted to understand what makes that make sense. They have a really unique approach to it. They say that they had a sign that said, don't you dare put this honey in tea. Don't you dare put this honey on food. It's like meant for other things. So it's like they challenge people and tell them like, no, our honey's too good to go into your tea or coffee or other things. They're really opinionated, saying like, no, if you don't want, and also another thing that, and this is definitely not like provable, but they say that they've made their honey specially for seasonal allergies to support people who have them. Now, does it work? I don't know. But you know what? People go to it because it's interesting, because everyone just says the same thing where they say, our honey's organic, our honey's really good. If everyone's saying that, what's going to make everyone stand out? The fact they're challenging people and saying, don't you dare put this honey in your tea, makes people like, wow, like you're telling me I can't do that? So people fly to things. It's almost like the bad guy, It's like, yeah, I want to be around him, not the good guy like I was in high school. So yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Nice. We have a question in the chat as well.
Yeah, can you read it to me? Because I can't get it open for some reason.
Sure. So the question is from Whitney, and she asked, what are the latest trends in marketing? You mentioned street teams used to be the thing, but what is the trend now?
Oh man, everything's digital. And I can nerd out all day on digital, and we all know social media and all those different places, but wow. Okay, so I'm going to do another plug I was going to do, which I will show you all once we wrap, is I'm not telling you to get on TikTok, and I'm not telling you to do anything that kids do. But what's really interesting from a trend standpoint, I'm not on TikTok, but I pay attention to trends and what's happening. And what's really interesting on TikTok right now is that there's this community, hashtag small business TikTok. And it's not about like being an influencer, being great at it. It's about how they use TikTok to communicate their natural skills and abilities. So you have people who run micro bakeries. You have people who run horticulture businesses where they have plants and flowers and all these things. And they do a lot of things showing behind the scenes content of how they do what they do. So it's like, how do I produce all this bread and I do it all out of my kitchen that a commercial kitchen would do? Because some people just have that capability to do it. So they do a really good job of telling the story of how they produce all the things they produce for people, and people really like it, and it helps them drum up business. So and this is an insight that I wrote about my newsletter the last 2 weeks, is about behind the scenes content. And this is something I tell businesses like all of yours, is that your greatest asset is yourself. It's not about advertising. It's not about influencers. Your best asset is you, particularly if you make a product. You physically have an ability to curate something or do something that you have the ability to impress people and be remarkable and get them to pay attention. So to have someone who runs this bakery say, I'm going to capture how I make a bunch of loaves of bread in this small kitchen and document it, and I'm gonna post it to social media, people are like, wow, that's really interesting. I've seen businesses where someone who makes workwear for women, these really cool clothes, that women who wouldn't even think of buying it, buy it because they look at that woman who's wearing it, who's working there, and says, wow, she does it so well, I want to be her, almost in this deep, like subjective, like subconscious way. So the trend definitely is like people using social media to capture their skills and abilities, these small businesses, in a really cool way that I think is really magnificent. And an insight I'll just give you is just use your skills and abilities and highlight them, because people think of Star Search, think of American Idol. People love people who have skills and unique things. Use yours. Use it as much as you can, because that's what's going to get you noticed.
Awesome. And we have another question in the chat. Are there any favorite marketing books or other literature that you can recommend?
Yes, that's a great question. Thank you
Thanks,
so much
Cully.
for asking. Who asked that?
That was Cully, Cullinate.
Hey, Golly, thank you again. So I have a crap ton of books right to my left here that I've read, educating myself. And the one that I the one I'd really recommend, that because majority of them are so intimidating and so technically crazy in terms of being like, a lot of people who are you're going to hear from or see that are like marketing people, they just specialize in one thing, and they're going to tell you that your solution is just, you got to do social media and you got to win Instagram, you got to do Facebook, and you got to do it. That's Don't listen to any of that. That could be your answer, but it doesn't have to be, because if people have been finding ways to market businesses because people all talk about how amazing the food is at that place and everyone goes there and no one ever advertises it, it's the same thing can be done for product businesses. So it's about how you present yourself and setting that up. So one book that I love is called This Is Marketing, and it's by Seth Godin, and it's a quick read. This is Marketing, and hold on, let me make sure that's the name of it before I am like totally off here. But the thing I love about it is that he really breaks it down. Yep, This Is Marketing. He really breaks it down to help you understand that great marketing is not about the tactics or any of the things that you see. It's about an innate understanding of humans and what their dreams and wants and what they want to be. And when you understand that you are helping people achieve and be who they want to be by your product and helping them along their journey, then you are going to be really good at marketing. You're not going to have to force people to do things. You're not going to be in front of people who don't want to hear from you. I get the door shut on me from so many people when I reach out to them. Like I said, I email a good amount of people once a month to say, hey, my name is Kim Robinson. I run this marketing resource for small businesses with limited resources. And here's what I do. I'd love to work with you. People ignore me. But then sometimes there'll be people like Natalie who'll say like, yes, that's what I'm looking for. And then they'll welcome me in and I'll be able to do things with them. And it's about just being clear on what you're looking for and who you're looking to serve. And when you're clear on that, you don't feel bad about the people who don't want your product. You care about the people who do want you. So it's about this thing called the minimum viable audience. So if you say, I have 100 people who love my product, and you can rock with those, you can have a business that can do really, really well. So it's about not thinking that you have to have everyone, and just saying who rocks with you and who loves you. I'm a big music fan, and some of my favorite bands no one knows, but like the people who love them love them. So I really would recommend the book This Is Marketing, because it's about saying, don't get caught up in the hype of huge marketing campaigns. It's about people understanding them, relating, and if you do that, people will respond and people will buy from you. My goal here, I'll be super transparent, is if anyone signs up for my website and signs up for my newsletter to receive it, I've done my job, because that meant I made a connection, and you should do the same thing in what you do. And that's what it's about. So buy This Is Marketing, read it. It will change how you look at things. And I want to hear from you if you read it. I'd love to hear more about your thoughts, because it changed how I look at things. And I've been in marketing for a long time. One other thing I think I could talk about really quick was just the general, one thing that I really like to lean into is the most important thing for your brand is what we call brand, and understanding it and what it stands for. And this idea of think about and communicate what makes your business, product, or service unique. And being clear on who you are and then being clear on who you're serving is going to set you up. And the best analogy to explain that is think about dating or getting a job. So we'll go with getting a job. So throughout our lives, we go to get a job, and you understand my resume has to be XYZ to get this job. And I have to present and understand how I'm trying to get this job. I have to say I have this background, I have to get along, I have to have this skill. It's the same thing with a business where when you grow it, you're saying to attract a certain customer, you have to understand who you are. So some people will change their resumes and say, make sure that like their resume reads specifically like a job posting so it matches up. So when the employer is looking at it, they're like, yep, this exactly matches up. It's the same thing for your brand and your customer. So if your customer is saying, I want a product that specifically does this and has this feel, you need to make sure you're saying the same thing and that your brand is offering that. So if you're clear on who you are, then you don't need to compete with other people because you're saying, here's what I stand for and here's what I'm about. And then the people who love you can say they're for you. And the people who are like, that's not for me, that's fine. Like some people may have hung up when I started and said, I don't need marketing. That's fine. That's completely fine because they're happy with where they're at. And some people are like, I need help. So that's where we go. So brand and understanding what you stand for, why your product is distinct, why you're distinct, and building that up. You don't have, and this is not about make yourself into an influencer and just put yourself in front of the camera and say, oh, it's all about me, because it's all about your customer. But what I'm saying is explaining how your backstory connects to the product, which then brings them in, and you guys are able to build a relationship around that. So I really recommend just focusing on your brand because all the tactics, um, it doesn't matter. Like for example, I was talking to the MTP team about the Vox article that I saw about how Gen Z kids love the market and they love going there and what it is. And, you know, the market has a brand, this vibe of like these kids who all show up, who like a certain aesthetic. You know them when you see them walking around, how they look, how they do these things, because this is where they're at. And the market has this aesthetic because these kids have decided that. And that's a really cool thing because they stand for something with a group who's going to keep coming around because they care about secondhand, they care about recycled things, they care about all those things. And if the market was to lean into that and say like, hey, we're about these things and share it with kids, and those kids are going to care and carry those flyers because it represents their beliefs. So that's the thing about brand. It's just like aligning beliefs. It's like how politics are. Like we all vote Democrat. That's why I'm getting this guy's flyer. We all believe in this. So that's kind of what it's about. Sorry, that was a bit of a rant. Any other questions?
We do have one more in the chat from Cully, asking if you offer individual consulting sessions.
Yes, I do. And I offer them for free, actually. So if you go to 3pts.co, and it'll be a landing page that pops up. It says Marketing Made Easy for Small Business, and you fill in your name, email address. I offer a free 30-minute marketing checkup and consultation. And what that is you'll fill out this Google form that I send to you, and then I'm going to go on your website, I'm going to go to your social media or any public facing things you have, and I'm just going to give it a good review, and I'm going to come back to you and say, hey, based on your feedback of where you say your challenges are and where your needs are, here's one or two things you can do to fix it. And I give you free advice, and that's it. And keep it moving. And I'm not trying to sell anyone on anything. So if I see you're signed up, you will hear from me. I appreciate it. Okay, cool.
Awesome.
And then lastly, my last plug, as I said before, so can you still see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I am having speaking of TikTok, I'm having me and my interns on the 25th are going to talk about that small business TikTok community I talked about. It's a really unique community. We're not going to be talking about how to use TikTok. It's more about this community of creatives who've used the technology to communicate their skills and abilities and have gotten attention from it, and to explain the value if you're interested in doing it. So that's what I'll be working on. So yeah, thank you. Cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you.
The link to your TikTok sign up and the link just to your regular sign up page for your email list in the chat. So if anyone's curious, you can hop into the chat to get those. We have a few thank yous in the chat. So definitely thank you so much for presenting. I mean, I know I took a lot of notes and got a lot out of it, you know, for us.
And it's recorded too, so everyone can have it if they want. That's the best, because I'm gonna put this on my newsletter for people to see and use too. So I appreciate you doing this for me.
Awesome, of course, thank you. And everyone who is here, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to do the raffle at this point.
We'll do a live drawing event. Drum roll,
Yes.
please.
All right, drum roll. Who's gonna be the winner?
Hey, Michelle Blakely. Woohoo.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Michelle. You are the winner of a free booth. So for your next booking, we will comp it. Yay. All right, cool. Yes, and you got some congratulations in the chat. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. I really appreciate that you all came out and you know, all your questions were awesome. And thank you for participating. And you know, I learned even from each of your questions, I learned something new too. So thank you for really, you know, showing up and participating. It means a lot to us. And thank you again to Kim for your awesome workshop. You really led an awesome conversation. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great evening. And we'll see you on Sunday.